Indian hurdler Jyothi Yarraji had a mixed 2024 season. She started strong, winning gold at the Harry Shooting Games with a time of 12.87 seconds, but struggled at the Paris Olympics, where she failed to qualify for the semi-finals, clocking 13.17 seconds in her repechage heat. Despite injuries including a hamstring niggle and a hip flexor issue, she displayed resilience, securing an Olympic berth. Athletics Director at the Reliance Foundation, James Hillier, highlighted her potential, noting her impressive 12.78 second race in Finland, despite hitting a hurdle and believing she could achieve 12.50 with the right conditions.
Yeah, it was a weird year really because it's sort of I guess it started off well. She obviously won the Asian indoors and things like that, and so that was a nice win for her. And she was in fantastic shape indoors, and then just she niggled her hamstring in the last rep of the preparation period before that Asian indoors, and sort of ran that effectively injured, but still won, which was really good. And then sort of we got her back and all the rest of it, and then we went to Europe and things, and she ran really well in Europe. She won like all of her races in Europe actually, and she equaled her personal best. She ran 12.78 in a meet in Finland, where Tejas broke the national record in the men's in that same race, and she smashed the last hurdle. You probably remember it, and probably that would have been a low 12.6 performance if she'd have just not hit that hurdle. And the girl that came, I think second or third in that race, third I think actually, ran 12.65 that year. And Jyothi just like beat her easily every time they raced. What she was doing in training was absolutely phenomenal, and I thought she was going to run 12.5. And then the next race after that, 12.78, she got injured. She tore her hip flexor really badly, and we were told by the doctor the doctor told us that you're not running at the Olympics. Like, it's simple as that. This is a serious injury, and you need to rest. And your Olympics, that it's not happening. But Jyothi wouldn't take that. She's really tough. She's like, Coach, I'm doing it. No one's going to tell me that I can't do this Olympics. That's fantastic. So she meticulously rehabbed. She was in the gym like 4 or 5 hours a day, just rehabbing, doing strength work, just doing any training that she could really. She couldn't do any running for 5 weeks, and she did one training session before the interstate, which was the trial for the Olympics. And ended up winning the interstate in 13.06 or something, whatever it was, which was phenomenal because she'd literally done one training session before it, and run like once or twice in 6 weeks. So that was phenomenal. And then we went to training camp in Poland, in Spala, with the Indian team. And she was training really well. She was looking absolutely fantastic. We're doing a lot of work on fast 3-stride rhythms and stuff, and it was looking really good. But unfortunately, when she got to the competition, she just couldn't transfer that rhythm that she'd developed in the training camp. She just couldn't convert it into the race, and unfortunately, it just all really just went wrong, I guess. We just didn't have enough time ultimately. Now, what I was trying to do was build a fast rhythm, but I was doing it over lower hurdles, and then the race she was going over obviously higher hurdles, and it was very disappointing. My expectations were really high because of how well she was training, and I sort of had forgotten about the injury at that point and forgotten how little she had done in the 3 months prior to the Olympics, and unfortunately it just caught up with her, and she just wasn't able to do it. So it was tough. There's obviously mitigating circumstances behind it. She was very disappointed. She felt she could have, even with all the injuries and the missed training and stuff, that she felt that she could have run a lot faster and done better. So it was disappointing, but she's bounced back. She's it took a bit of time, but she's back now. She's focused, and she wants to win the Asian Champs this year. She wants to try and win the Asian Champs in the 200 meters as well, and wants to go to the World Champs and make the final. So she's really focused, really determined. She's matured a lot. She knows that she needs to look after her body because the injuries cost her badly last year, and we've had a good chunk of time in preparation. So hopefully that difficult year will galvanize her and make this year even better. So that's kind of how we're viewing things, and hopefully this year will be better, and then we can put the sort of the ghosts of Paris behind us and actually use that Paris situation as a catalyst to be better this year. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it looks like she's plateauing, right? Because she effectively ran the same time this year as she ran last year. But if you look at her average time, it was significantly quicker. So, you know, she was running under 13 seconds almost every race this year, you know, and if it wasn't under 13, it was a heat and she was, or was a headwind or something like that. So there was a reason why she didn't go under 13. So for her now, under 13 has become normal. Whereas the year before, it was sort of like it was still quite a special thing for her to run under 13. So although the personal best hasn't improved on paper or sort of, you know, when you look at her profile on the World Athletics website or whatever, but you know that race when she ran 12.78, you know, like I say, she smashed the hurdle and you know that could have cost her as much as 0.2 of a second. So it could have been even a sub 12.6 run, to be honest, because she hit that hurdle so hard. So effectively, she did run a PB last year, even though on paper it was only an equal PB, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, we've got to remember, you know, she still has only been an international athlete for a few years. You know, she's still pretty unexposed at the highest levels. She's got the ability. My God, she's got the ability. And I've seen her do stuff in training that, you know, even gets me excited, and I try not to get too excited these days in athletics because you end up getting disappointed. But she's done amazing things in training, so it's just a case of her now being able to find a way to articulate herself and express herself better in competitions. And you know, we're working on a few things. We're working on trying to get her some more international exposure, so you know, getting overseas a bit more, and not only racing but training with some of the best girls in Europe and some of the best girls in the world, and give her those sort of exposure points, because you know that's very, very important. These girls that are beating her, they're beating her not because they're better than her, but because they've been in the game longer. You know, they're training with each other week in, week out, and you know they've just had more competitions. It's simple as that. So these are the three things that we have to sort of fix. The ability's there. That's the reassuring thing. It's not like she's not good enough to run 12.5. She can do it. We just have to create the right situation for it to happen. And if she runs 12.5, she'll dominate everything in Asia, and then she'll be really pushing for like global finals and stuff like that. And that's where I want her to be. She's good enough to be, you know, in global finals and pushing for global finals, and ultimately that's where we want her to be.